And on this episode's of Why Do You Do Interviews, we have this from Screen Rant. Why Dune 2 can be seen without watching Part 1, explained by Denis Villeneuve. Does this man believe that you can watch Dune 2 without seeing Dune 1 and understand what's going on? Why do people want to interview this man? He sounds so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Remember his last thing I was talking about? How he said how Zendaya's character was the main character of the story and that the focus on Dune 2 was women and both of those things were hysterical lies? Now he's telling people, you know what? You don't need to see Dune 1 to understand it. It's so explained. No, it's not. This movie is so complicated. In fact, I feel like I could have benefited by watching this movie a day before I saw the second one. In a recent interview with MoviePhone, Villeneuve shares his take on why viewers can watch Dune Part 2 without having seen the first 2021 movie. He still, however, recommends that people see Dune first if they can. Which one is it, Dennis? Do I have to see the first one to understand it? Is there a reason why I might want to see Part 1 before seeing Part 2? Can you name a single sequel in the history of the movie industry that I could just put on without seeing the first one and I understand everything that's going on? Just imagine for a second, put it on Dune 2. It's like, why are these two characters running away from these dudes in space helmets, and there's someone shooting at them. What's up with these sandworms? Why are these women telepathic? What's with the water? Who is this floating guy? Look, Javier Bardem's in it, and so is Josh Brolin. What's up with them? And he says, and I quote, "I think it's a good question." No, it's not. Do you know what a good question is? A good question is like, where do clouds come from? Not, hey, could I see the second one without seeing the first one? What would possess a human being to say, look, Part 2 of this franchise is coming out. I haven't seen the first one, but I'll just run to the theaters to see the second one. And I continue the quote. First, it was important for me that the movie would be kind of autonomous. Meaning that someone who has not seen Dune 1 can still enjoy Part 2. You know, I could watch a movie that's not in the English language and enjoy it. I can say, hey, look, bright, funny colors and music and cool visuals and stuff like that. Doesn't mean I understand it. What? Does this man even like his own movies at this point, though? I really feel like he doesn't even want to do a trilogy. So we gave hints at our beginning of the story to make sure that it was kind of autonomous. What hints did you give in the beginning of Dune 2 that answered all the questions I could possibly have in Dune 1? There was no on-the-nose dialogue. It wasn't like Zendaya said, yes, Paul Atreides, whose father died a couple weeks ago. Yes, you are being hunted because you are the rightful Duke heir of this planet. Like, was that her first line? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. Of course, it's a better journey if you've seen Dune, but I tried that. What does that mean? Has Dennis invented the Men in Black technology where he could just press the button, wipe his memory clean, and then he said, you know what, I think I'm just going to watch Dune 2 without knowing anything. He's like, hey, you know, this movie's pretty damn good. Is that what happened? But I tried that. How? Explain yourself, Frogman. How have you tried this? The article goes on. Why seeing 2021's Dune before Dune Part 2 is a good idea? What is going on with Screen Rant these days? The other day I pull up an article from Ahsoka Season 2, and the writer was just beaten off to how great Ahsoka was, and then you clicked on her profile, and it just talks about her love of Disney and consuming Disney constantly. Of course she thinks Ahsoka was a great show. She's not that smart. So of course she's hyped for a sequel, because that's just turn your brain off and watch the pretty colors. Who's running this company right now? The book is so dense and all-encompassing that Villeneuve needed quite 2 long feature films in order to cover everything. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think Dune 2 should have been broken up into 2 movies, both consistent of almost 3 hours long. You could have easily made Part 2 2 movies in itself, both 3 hours each. There was a lot to cover with this movie. In fact, like I said, I want to see more of these movies. I don't want to see less of them. It's probably going to end in a trilogy and that's it though. But I really think you can stretch this to at least 5 if you wanted to. Without even trying, you could get to 5 movies. Watching the first Dune makes Paul's character arc more powerful and more moving as he embraces a leadership role with the Furman in the sequel. I guess this quote makes sense, because without Dune 1, we really wouldn't understand his motivations to sucking off these people in the sequel. What is going on? Is Screen Rant just desperate for clicks these days? By skipping Dune and going straight to the sequel, one would essentially be jumping into the story halfway through. You think, Screen Rant? You think jumping into part 2 means that you missed everything that happened in part 1? What is the public education system at this point? The exposition in Dune Part 2 means newcomers probably won't be too confused as they watch. You will 100% be confused putting on Dune 2 without watching Dune 1 or without reading a single solitary thing. Imagine for a second you put on, I don't know, Spider-Man No Way Home. And then you see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man save Zendaya and start tearing up. Wouldn't you in the audience be like, huh? What's wrong with that guy? Is he on his period or something like that? Why is he so sad that he just saved someone? Oh, wait a second. My monkey brain is starting to work. And I'm remembering The Amazing Spider-Man 2 when Gwen died and Andrew couldn't save her, thus making this redemption arc make more sense. Dennis, do you not want me to watch your movies? Is that how I should go into this? Imagine when Dune Part 3 comes out. Could you just say, you know what? You don't need to see the first 2. In the Marvels, you didn't need to see Captain Marvel because they explained everything for you. Just like that. In Dune 2, was there a single time where they explained the entirety of Dune 1 in flashbacks or anything like that? But I don't think there was a single flashback in that movie. What is... Unbelievable. What an article. And then it goes on to say, Josh Brolin's journey and Dave Bautista's Rabin meeting in the sequel, for example, which has been shown in the trailers, is far more rewarding if one has seen the first movie and knows those characters' histories. I don't know what to make of this company anymore. I don't know. Just, also, I hate to spoil the movie. If you haven't seen Dune Part 2 and you want to see the movie and you don't want to spoil it, okay, stop watching right now. Journey kills Bautista's character in like a second. And I was watching that scene with my wife. I'm like, I really wasn't asking for this confrontation. I was not desperate to see these two duel it out in the end, though. So that was like a 5-second fight. And yeah, I guess it makes more sense if you watch the first one, because you can kind of get a sense of why they're mad at each other. So in order to understand these two characters' hatred for each other, you need to watch the first one. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Good job, guys. I agree with you. As Villeneuve suggests, however, Dune Part 2 can still be an enjoyable experience for those who didn't catch the first film. This man should never give an interview for the rest of his career. Every time he speaks, I like him just a little bit less. And he speaks so much that I like him so much less than when I first didn't even know this man's name or existence. What an article. Screen Rant, clearly winning it these days. What do you guys think about that? Can you name me a movie, just for the audience, please name me a movie that you saw the sequel of first, before you saw the first movie, and you had 0 questions. Let me know what you think about that.